Hello, my beautiful friends. This is probably going to be the weirdest opening to any of my episodes, but I just have to come on here and relay to you what I've been feeling and talk about some changes that are going on in my world and now this podcast. So I've always kind of prided myself on the fact that I have this ADHD brain that I come on here and I share points with you and I share all sorts of things, but I've always given this the opportunity for me to talk about things. So I've never came on here with a word for word script, and there's a lot of beauty in that, and there's probably some cons, but I failed to be able to make that change in my own world. So therefore, I just roll with it. So I want to come on here today with that opening to tell you guys that there is some big things happening in my world. And I think it's happening in everybody's world, to be honest with you. It is not lost on me that this is my 200th episode and that this podcast has literally changed and shifted with all of those episodes to become what it is now. Okay. So it's taken me nearly 200 episodes, you guys, to finally make this podcast what God always meant for it to be. And if that's not for you, you've probably already started to tune out. But this week, something shifted in me at the root of my identity. I had to ask myself, am I doing what God has called me to do? Or am I using my spiritual gifts and my knowledge for my own glory? That's where this entire rebrand is born from. Something guttural, undeniable changed in me. I no longer care about glory, about bragging rights, about popularity. I don't care if I go from being top 5% global podcast to top 50%, okay? I just don't care. I will take every bit of growth, though, and recognition that God allows, but only if it's in His plan. He gave me the fire to talk, to create, to share, to create a space for other people that are looking for the same things I've been looking for. I'm only beginning to understand why I have this fire to talk. I don't know what the future holds, but I know this much. It's a journey only He can take me on. That being said, there's going to be some changes that you will see on the podcast. This is going to release Tuesday morning, and I'm not sure if my podcast art will also be updated by then, and I'm not sure if the show notes will be, but I am changing the name of this podcast to the Sacred Rebel Sisterhood. And this entire episode is going to be about what's going on now, this past week, behind the scenes. And we're going to talk about the astrological shifts as well as the veil being lifted, which I feel like most people are now noticing. So let's get into the nitty gritty as we always do. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole episode about a rebrand. No, I like to go in depth. You guys know this. If you're new here, maybe you don't know that, but this is definitely going to be one of those things where we talk about what the heck is actually going on. So let's go ahead and jump into that. My friends, we are living in a time of upheaval. I know you're feeling it. I absolutely know that every person who's going to be attracted to this space has felt this. Okay, we are in an eclipse portal. This is a season of endings and beginnings. I talked about that on my last episode if you guys want to check it out. But I think this idea of, oh, what is endings and beginnings? I think we're all seeing it. I think we're seeing it. Eclipses are like cosmic spotlights, right? They lift the veil. The energy is thick with change, and the spiritual atmosphere is undeniable. There is a spiritual connection to everything that's going on right now, and it is in our face. If you're not noticing it, your eyes are closed. And that's okay. We can open them, right? But most people are noticing a shift and they are talking about it and they are speaking about it because it's such a big one. It cannot be overlooked. So these eclipse portals, it makes it easier to see what's real and what's fake, what's good and what is evil. Okay. You can see easier where God is calling us and where the enemy is distracting us. And I feel that so strongly right now. The veil is absolutely lifting. People are showing you who they really are. I have a client, he's an ex NFL player, and I should say retired, I guess, but he always says, when a man shows you who he is, believe him. That's what's going on right now. People are showing you who they really are, and truth is being revealed in ways we cannot ignore. And when I watched what happened with Charlie Kirk's death a few days ago, when I felt the collective grief and urgency, I realized this is not the season to hide. This is the season to proclaim. Okay. And I was feeling that. I was feeling that from God almost immediately. By the next morning, the first thought that came to my head when I opened my eyes on Thursday morning was, Aubrey, do the people in your world really know who you are? Do they really know that you're Christian? Do they really know how much faith you have and how you live your life day to day based on that faith? And I had to answer no. I mean, you guys, if you've been around on this podcast, I talk about God. I talk about a divine presence in my life, but I do often gloss over things. I do often decide not to share the depth of that just because I'm worried that I'm going to make someone uncomfortable or I'm going to sound like this, Christian lunatic who, shows up on these podcasts and has all these things to say and makes people think, that they're not doing it right or that they have to change their lives, right? I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to put myself on a pedestal while taking other people down. And it always felt like that. It always felt like, well, this is a part of me, but I don't talk about it. And in fact, when I originally decided to do a podcast, I took a course from a Christian woman about how to set up my podcast. And I still shunned myself away from the fact that I shouldn't say I'm Christian because I have all these other beliefs and I have all these things going for me. And I just want to bring people closer to God. But I'm done. I am completely, utterly done with this feeling that because I'm Christian, I cannot therefore talk about these other things. I am completely done with it because there's a reason why I have these belief systems in me. There's a reason why I have such a powerful faith. And maybe we will get into that at some point. And if this is already too much for you, I am unapologetically okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to apologize because I'm finally sharing the depth of who I truly am. I cannot apologize for that. This is the season to proclaim. That's what it feels like to me. God has pressed this on me. Stop glossing over who you are. Stop watering down what I've given you. Call it what it is. That's where this name, this shift, this new chapter was born. That's where we're at right now. So here are some things that you can expect from me on this podcast, okay? I still have the same beliefs as I had before. I'm just sharing them a little more openly. I'm going to talk about Christianity. I'm going to talk about being a woman of faith in this world. I'm going to talk about my spiritual gifts and how you guys have some that you're also tucking away, that you're not showing, you're hiding them, okay? I'm going to talk about astrology in the sense that it is a map God created. It is not a fortune teller. It is not a way to see our future events, but it is a map that God Himself created. I'm going to talk about the nervous system. I'm going to talk about subconscious healing still, mindset, reprogramming the mind. These are all my expertise. I'm going to talk about being a wife, a mom, and an entrepreneur, but this podcast will not be solely for entrepreneurs. And I'm going to do all of this with God at the center, which isn't a huge change from what I was already doing, but it is slightly going to be different. Some people will say these things don't belong together, but here in this sisterhood, they do. Because I'm living proof that they can. And I want to be that example for other women who are just like me. I'm also going to be having other women on the podcast to interview, to talk to share their retreats with, to just expand this space that we all hold so dearly. I get requests for guests like at least a couple times a week, and most of them I do not put on here. And there's even some that I already recorded the interviews for that are no longer going to fit in this space, which is fine. But I'm going to make a conscious effort to expose you guys to more people that are like me, to more women out there that are like you, that are people who put that first, and they're also able to grow a business, or they're also able to be a wife, be a mom. These women that I am envisioning coming into this space are the most incredible, thought-provoking, inspirational, and deep spiritual women. That's what I have envisioned for this. We're going to talk about faith, astrology, the human design, nervous system healing, mindset, all of the raw, messy, beautiful parts of life. This is a sisterhood for women who crave more truth, more healing, more of God. So here we are, the Sacred Rebel Sisterhood. It's not mine, it's His. I'm going to promise you guys, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep sharing all of this information with you, creating. And you know what? I'm not going to do it for me. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm doing it for God. But I hope, and honestly, a deep part of me already knows that it's going to be exactly what I need to do. And it's going to be exactly what you need to listen to. So if you're here, it means you're meant to be here. And if this resonates, if you feel the same stirring in your spirit, then welcome. This isn't the end of a podcast rebrand. It's the beginning of a journey only God can take us on. Rooted in Him, fierce in truth. Let's do it together. Welcome to the Sacred Rebel Sisterhood. This isn't about perfection. It's about truth. It's about women standing rooted in God and unapologetic in their gifts. If this speaks to your soul, you belong here. Share this with another woman who's ready to rise because, listen, friends, we're just getting started. So welcome to our new beginning.